Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rana Purcahyani and I'm from class 2A Palembang. Today, on this video, I will make a summary of the podcast video that I have watched. The topic is about, can vegans get enough protein? So the first we have to know that vegetarians are divided into three, namely vegan, OPO, and lacto. How vegans got protein? Vegans can get 147 of pure protein from broccoli, 2,000 calories or 157 grams from lentils. Like for example, vegans only need to mix them together to provide the protein for the body needs. For animal protein, so that vitamin B12 is made for vegans. They can consume soy milk instead of cow milk to meet the body needs. Because from the protein point of view, it is okay for vegans while they can still manage it. All the cruciferous vegetables have a calcium, such as broccoli, Brussels, kale. If you're not eating those food, you will missing a whole lot more than calcium and protein because this is a healthy food. For vegans themselves, in terms of protein, it doesn't matter. Even with the development of vegans, tempeh is becoming increasingly quality to replace meat in the fulfillment of protein. We also have to remember that protein is not produced by ourselves. Protein requirements are important and very much needed by the body for the body vegans or non-vegans. Lots of alternative foods that can be consumed by vegans as a substitute for animal protein and of course to meet vegetable protein as well. So next, I would like to make a summary from the second video podcast that I have watched. The podcast is about going vegan is expensive and restrictive. If you are a vegan now, of course you need more ingredients than before you became a vegan. Being vegan usually makes with different ingredients and different recipes. It can be concluded that vegan is anything but restrictive. I think being a vegan doesn't mean you can have your favorite food, but you still can. It's just made a little change. The fact is being vegan is not expensive as what people say. Most of the vegan ingredients are inexpensive in supermarket or grocery store. Veganism is not expensive when you buy established. Yeah, being vegan can be cheap when you buy our own food and cook it ourselves. For example, in some places there is soya milk which is cheaper than cow milk. Being vegan is easy, even more affordable to live a vegan lifestyle. Depending on how we choose and process the food itself, which make it expensive or cheap. So, it's complete myth that veganism is more expensive. From the podcast video about going vegan is expensive and restrictive, it can be concluded that being vegan is not expensive as what people think out there. Some say it's complicated, difficult, and many more, but that's not necessarily true. We can manage our own food as vegan, choose our own ingredients to cook it ourselves so as not to spend a lot of money. Indeed, some vegan menus are expensive, but every city and place has a different cost. Okay, next is about summary of the third podcast video about the negative effects of eating too many plants. We certainly know something in excess can cause negative effects on the body, as well as eating a lot of plants. From the podcast that I have watched, it is probably better to eat more meat than plants because plants can trigger autoimmunity through various mechanisms. Eating lots of plant-based protein from plants can interfere with nutrient absorption and affect gut microbiomes. It can be concluded that it is better to follow an all-meat diet than to eat a lot of plants. So, carnivorous diets can also help treat autoimmune diseases. Food is a large part of the cause of disease. If we consume plants, many even say it is healthy. But in fact, if we consume it excessively, it is not good for the body. Not only plants, but by eating meat also containing MT1, essential amino acids in high amounts can shorten life. Therefore, we must be smarter in regulating the amount of our food for health. So, from the video podcast about the negative effects of eating too many plants, it can be concluded that consuming something in excess, including plants, which many people even say is one for health, has many benefits, but in fact, it is still bad for the body when consuming excess amounts because the body must also adjust have the existing intake. So, the next summary is for the fourth podcast video, and the topic is about food. Everyone must have their favorite foods, ranging from sweet, spicy, sour, and others. We also have tasted many different types of food in our lifetime. There are things we really like when we're trying, others that we really don't like. And maybe we don't like not just taste or appearance. Maybe people have their own allergies to the food we try. Talking about food allergies, you could say it's not easy to deal with. Sometimes it feels that it's okay, but the body refuses. For example, there are people who don't like fish, chocolate, egg, and many more. Sometimes people also like to judge what it's like, why can this is healthy food, uh, while they don't know what the problem is. Maybe for those who are allergic to fish because of the annoying smell, or the taste, or even the texture, because we don't know everyone tastes. And if it's all forced, can have a traumatic experience and make you scared for life. And the last one, I will make a summary of the fifth video podcast that I have watched about money and lifestyle. The conclusion that can be drawn is how to prepare for the future. Talking about finance, we know that this is what is important for sustaining life either now or in the future. There are even people who think that money is everything, money is happiness, but this depends on the individual. To prepare for the financial lifestyle in the future, we can determine for ourselves what kind of lifestyle we want in the future. We must pay attention to how the process to start, such as your income, your expenditure, assets, and liabilities. We must take into account how much money goes into our wallets. For example, how much our salaries. Don't forget to pay attention to how much you spend each month, and all of that must be arranged to be balanced. For example, for meals, transportation, and other costs that must be paid, and also calculate the cash value of the items you own. It may be properties, vehicles, jewelries, and other assets that have a price. And do not forget also with their liabilities. So to determine our lifestyle in the future, it's depend on ourselves. Maybe we want to build luxurious or simples, but we must remember that we must be prepared from now on by looking at our efforts, prayers, hard work so that our finances are maintained.